but they got in today. A miraculous win by Drake. So that's where Bill Liley is. That's what happens when you get a coach. He's like some of the kids I coached in high school are now playing for Drake. They're playing tonight, so I can't join you and Pat on the show. So we got no Bill tonight. And
hey, them's the breaks, Maz, but we'll be okay.
there you are. I was wondering where my was. Yeah, hold on now. Whoa. We got to do it proper. My guy, our main man. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, Maz, we talk about it, man. The week flies by, but this is something I look forward to every week. It's a lot of. It's great to see you. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about high school sports and sports in general, but it's just it's a great hour to be with you. So appreciate it.
Thank you. And you as well. I really look forward to it. I was, I was sitting on the couch kind of watching the game. I was like, man, I got to prep. I got to get ready. And I got all in this whole deal. I was like, man, do what you do every Thursday. Go in there, Pat, just, you know what I mean, and have a good time.
Yeah. So, hey, how was your week, Maz? What was the highlight this week?
Thanks for asking. The highlight was I got vaccinated. So,
Okay.
Everybody get vaccinated. Those that
what kind of shot did you get?
I took the Johnson & Johnson, one and done.
Okay, good for you. I've received my first Pfizer shot, and I have to go back and I think in 2 weeks to get my second one.
That's awesome.
Congratulations, man. Good job in getting your shot, and I bet you're breathing a little bit better now, right?
I am. I really am, especially after it was done. There was some relief.
Yeah.
Pat, what was interesting to me, and I'm interested to hear your experience on this, but I hadn't had a group health. But from the time that I parked my car in front of the, I should say Kaiser front of the building to the time I went in, did everything, it was just a 35-minute turnaround. It was.
Yeah. I can share with you, Maz. I went to just kind of a local hospital, and they were very well organized too. So I was in there probably about the same amount of time. I've got a card that tells me when I go back. And I can tell you that my mom, who's 88, my brother took her up to Everett Payne Field, and she got her first shot just in a drive-through. They were so well organized that she didn't even need to get out of the car. She, checked in and then drove a little bit further, and then she was actually got her shot, and then they drove and waited for a little bit, and then they moved on. So it just sounds like from that perspective, and getting your shot, that things are pretty well organized, and I got to think that there's more availability coming. So.
Yeah, they said 2 million March 31st. 2 more million vaccines will be available, and to your point, they released another tier. So, and there's some discussion, I know, and especially in the Black and Brown communities, and I know you work with Black and Brown communities and others, but there's this underlying discussion about, which makes sense, some historical perspective on the healthcare disproportionality, and there's a little mistrust there.
Yep, absolutely. There's distrust with the government and so forth, and from that perspective, and you can't blame them. And people have to make a choice. So
that's exactly where I'm at with the Pat. But I'm like, look, let's do the science. Make this choice, but err on today, and that message is for everyone. So kudos to the countless health professionals and volunteers that are making this happen.
Yeah, and just what I observed, there's a lot of people involved, Maz. There were people checking people in. There were nurses, checking you, helping you through the line. There were data entry people. I'm sure you had the same experience, but there's a lot of people that are involved in that. So I appreciate the coordination and the work that those folks have done. So.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw this, but Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe were actually greeters at the Seattle, the mass vaccine site over at Lumen Field. You know what I mean? What else would you expect, Pat?
Yeah. I know. But things. I guess what we can take away though is that the vaccine is definitely with us, and people can get it, and they're doing their best to roll it out, and so that's a positive, right? So.
Absolutely. And it's great to see the community, all of it banding together. So, I think what we'll do, we'll add this thing where right now, how about we hear who the high school Metro Athlete of the Year is? Of the week. We got a video and there's a whole shebang about it. I think, what do you say? Let's hear who that is and the contribution.
I think now it's up to Mr. Daniel.
Rainier Avenue Radio Metro League Student Athlete of the Week Award goes to Elijah Valerie Buchanan, senior running back for the Seattle Prep Panthers.
And the punt is blocked. The punt is blocked and it's picked up by number 6, Elijah Valerie Buchanan, and he's into the end zone. But on a special teams play, Seattle Prep is up 6-0.
Elijah scored 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing the football, and he also picked up a block punt and took it to the house as well. Congratulations to our Week 2 Rainier Avenue Radio Metro League Student Athlete of the Week, Elijah Valerie Buchanan, senior running back for the Seattle Prep Panthers.
So Maz, who is that? Daniel announcing that?
That's D Money, guy.
That's D Money. Well, we got to bring him on and start asking him some questions.
The guy went from DJ, to a SRAM coordinator. Now he's rubbing elbows with the sports guys and doing it well.
Yeah, he's sounding a little bit like Marv Alpert or somebody,
Yeah, I was trying to. That is a little bit of Marv. Yeah. No, you could also do basketball and coming down. Yeah. So I think you see why there's a need to kind of have that spot there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great job, Daniel.
It's a slick production now.
Mm-hmm. Just a shout out to Rainier Avenue Radio. They're covering a lot of our football games and live broadcasts. So if people want to see football games, that's a great source to go to and watch the games. And there's great commentary. We've got Rick Dupree and Edwin Bailey doing some broadcasting most of our games. So that's exciting. And I know I'm working with Tony on scheduling either some volleyball or soccer or even bowling matches coming up. So, we'll definitely get those promos out as we finalize those broadcasts.
Can't wait. G-Money, do we have this week's football schedule? They have it. They even sent it out. And of course, being unprepared, I don't have it popped up. But G-Money, I know there was a program change, but do we have a schedule change? Do we know?
We did do a little bit of a switching of tiers with 2 of our teams. We switched Bishop Blanchette and Rainier Beach. They basically have flopped schedules. And just because the beach has got, their numbers aren't as big as that they've been in the past, and where Bishop Blanchette's numbers were a lot bigger, and so we've moved those schools because it'll be better matchups for the rest of the year for both of those schools.
So right, like I think you've said this before, but we can never hear it. So the teams are in tiers based on sounds like number of kids.
We have 3 tiers in football. We have a tier with some of our top teams. The second tier is our middle level teams, and then the other tier is teams that are still okay, but they're building their programs. And we do that so that in football those matchups will be okay. So that we're not putting huge strong players against players that might not be as strong. So
okay. And right on cue, there it is.
Yep. So our first game Friday night is O'Day versus Seattle Prep. That's a top tier matchup, and so that'll be a little rivalry, and then again we finish off. Well, that might be the 8 o'clock game. That second game is Lakeside in Cleveland.
Where the hell is it?
Actually, while you're flipping through the shows, I was, Pat, go ahead. I was going to say, Daniel, we should.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say we've got a doubleheader at Memorial Stadium this Friday, and 2 great games. O'Day and Seattle Prep will be a really good game, and then the nightcap will be a great game too. So. Okay. And some things that have happened in our football area is last week, Lincoln High School got their first varsity win as a school. In a number of years. Lincoln was a school that was closed down, I think around 1980, and we opened it up last year. And so now they are a school with freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. They don't have any seniors this year. And this year, last weekend, they were able to get their first football game varsity win. So shout out to them.
Pat, I know it obviously never had seniors. Did they start out freshmen and sophomores, or
Yeah, you're right, Maz. Last year was the first year that we opened that school, and we opened it with just freshmen and sophomores. So last year they were competing in just about everything in varsity competitions with just freshmen and sophomores. So.
Oh, I get it. So next year.
Next year they'll be their first full year with all 4 classes.
All right.
Wow. Yeah. So last year's sophomores obviously are this year's juniors. Last year's freshmen are the sophomores, and we had a new very good big freshman class at Lincoln this year. So that's their 3 grades. Next year we'll phase in another freshman class, and everybody's moving up. So next year will be their first full year of all classes.
Have you changed? Is this the same AD?
Yeah, Brent Brackey is the AD at Lincoln. So,
and I'm sorry, Pat. I want to bring that up because I had an amazing encounter with him and his staff when we were reffing a game down there last week. Just incredible.
Yeah, they're doing a great job at Lincoln, and I think in life we all have challenges, right? Either in our personal lives or our professional lives, and just with bringing Lincoln on board, it's given us a lot of challenges because Lincoln is a school that we had to, do a lot of renovation to get it back up to speed, and it just doesn't have all of the athletic facilities, that some of our other schools have. So they're and coupled with that, we've just found out that Lincoln will be going under some further remodel, remodeling time with their gym and their performing arts facilities. So they're going to lose those facilities again for another year. So it's just challenging at Lincoln, if you can imagine that. You're a student that goes there and you're participating in athletics, but you're not really able to, have games at your own site yet. So
where will they? So that they won't be able to practice or performing arts as well. So the auditorium and the gym are out. So
yeah.
where will they then has that been not yet?
That's the big money question right now, Maz, and we're still working on that and figuring that stuff out. We've got a series of meetings coming up, and we're just going to have to explore the best places for them to land, and that's just part of the challenges that we face. So
yeah.
And I was just going to add, though, Maz, we're trying to develop the basketball schedule in some of our second season sports, and now we got the news that Lincoln will be losing their gym at a certain point. So, it just goes to, how involved scheduling gets, because now, the second part of that season, or the later part of that season for Lincoln, their games are either going to have to be at a different site or away, so it's just all part of the scheduling process, right?
Yeah, I remember Emily, right, came on and she talked about how was it Holy Names? And
Holy Names just went through this, that they've been out without a gym for the past year, but their gym is just coming on board. They had a huge construction project at their school where they built a new parking lot and a new gym and some other new facilities there. And they were without a home facility for all of last year. So if you remember, Emily was talking about, it was a year without having a home gym and so forth. So those things happen, and our coaches and our ADs adapt and make the best of it. So
yeah, and I think it's just a testament to the Seattle School District, just the ongoing, because it's an inconvenience and it's part of life when you have to make adjustments. But the fact that these adjustments are being made shows that the commitment to continue to have these buildings, whether it's the gym, whether it's the Performing Arts Center, and all of that, to give the kids a quality classroom and that whole experience, just pulling into the parking lot and then everything else,
Yeah. And, that's, we're in the kids business, right? We're trying to provide an athletic experience that's great for student athletes. And, when we get, as you do, as we get curveballs, and there's no gym, we got to take a swing at it and try to hit the ball and make it work. Right. So that's what we're doing. So.
Well, I got a curveball for you today, but that's coming up later.
Yeah.
One of the coolest
I just want you to know, Maz, what I want you to know is you're not the only one that throws us curveballs.
Oh, I can't imagine. You know what? That's why at least mine, I know they're hittable, and no, one of the the coolest experience learning, and also from how renovations and what it takes to renovate a school, and then all the people involved, was when I was lucky enough to be represent the Seattle Parks and Recreation on the Garfield High School design team. And the couple years, the meetings and all of those, and the Wayne floor. It's just incredible. Obviously, the detail that goes into that, not just structurally, but the students, and I just remember, the intricacy of the facility. The lights are going to go this way. We're going to have two gyms at Garfield. The main one, and let's have this one in the back. Where do we put the mats? You know what I mean? A lot of work goes in there.
Yeah, you know what, Maz? We're going through that exact process right now with Rainier Beach High School. So Rainier Beach High School is going to be renovated here soon. And we are involved in meetings with a lot of different people, the administration, athletic department, the teachers, all that. There's people that are giving input to the plans at Rainier Beach High School right now. And it's going to be a terrific facility. So.
Oh, I can't imagine. I mean,
yeah, it's going to be the crown jewel of the South End. I can tell you, it's going to be awesome.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, I get the basketball, but you got to remember that performing arts center.
The whole school is going to get renovated, and it's going to be brilliant. All right. It's really it really is, Maz. Just for our listeners, is that obviously it's going to take a while. To finish the design phase and then get through the construction phase, which will always take a while, and there'll be some pains with that. Obviously, you're going to lose some spaces while construction's going on. I think a lot of us have lived through construction, at some point in our lives, and it's not always pleasant, but the end result is just going to be a beautiful facility at Rainier Beach High School. So, and we're really thrilled about that.
I mean, I'm beaming just hearing about that. And again, I never mind the gym and, the history and all of that. I've been, the Performing Arts Center, I've been to a couple of events there. The world-class,
Yeah, it is going to be a world-class facility, and it's exciting to look at the layout for the students, where students can go to classrooms, and then when they're out of classrooms, have social spaces to go to collaborate about classroom stuff, and they're going to have a football field still in the same location that has grandstands and that has a connection to the school. Same thing with the gym. So it's just going to be a really great facility. And they've got an architectural firm that's in the school business that knows what they're doing, and they're presenting information to staff and so forth, and staff is being allowed to give input on what's important to them, and some other feedback, and and they're making changes, and it's just a great process, Maz, and I think that people will be really happy with the result. So
yeah, and I should add, the architectural firms that are in the school business are incredible, because the Garfield Teen Life Center was built as part of the new one that's there now, was part of the design project. That's how Ted, he's gone now, but our connection, and they were like, no, this is part of the community, but to have that, the wherewithal, inclusivity to do that. We actually were relocated to Washington, the Garfield Teen Life Center, while the Garfield High School kids were at Lincoln. But
it's just a real collaborative process, Maz, and I know you would really appreciate and admire the process when the design team is getting a bunch of people in front of it, and they go through it and explain why things are where and so forth. It's a really enlightening process, and it's a great process. So.
Yeah, and it was all inclusive. They had everybody. They had, they did it right in the way. They had meetings at different days of the week, different times, so everybody was able to attend. But we're up on break, so man, it goes
already, huh? Jeez.
It goes. So D Money, if you're ready to go, we're gonna go on break on Metro Sports Weekly with Mazvita Maraire and Mr. Pat McCarthy.
When should you wear a mask? For almost everyone, every time you go out. Like for coffee, when you ride the bus, or head out to care for your parents. When you go to work, spend the afternoon at the park, or pick up your dinner on your way home. Whatever you do, wearing a mask is essential because it works to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and it helps keep Washington open. Mask up to open up, Washington. Coronavirus.gov. This message brought to you by the state of Washington.
Join Rainier Avenue Radio from 5 to midnight for Sunday evening sound sessions. Jazz from the Cabinets from Big Papa.
That's right. It's time once again. Jazz from the Cabinets.
Sergio records love lines. Sergio's love lines. When Sergio records bunch of the phone lines, tell him who we talking to. Sage Prince, Just My Opinion.
This is Sage, and that's just about gonna do it for the first half of Just My Opinion.
Kid Fox, Nightbeat with Nasty Nest Rodriguez.
The beat of the Fox. Kid Fox, Nightbeat, Nasty Nest.
You know what? You're gonna listen from 5 to midnight. Just turn it on and don't stop. DJ Alibaba. the underground surround sound star time. Paul Patch, Virginia. My name is Paul Pearson. Sunday evening sound sessions on Rainier Avenue Radio. Trust me, you'll be listening the entire time from 5 to 8 Sunday evening. Your sound session on Rainier Avenue Radio.
This week's Rainier Avenue Radio Metro League Student Athlete of the Week award goes to Elijah Valley Buchanan, senior running back for the Seattle Prep Panthers.
And the put is blocked. The put is blocked and is picked up by number 6, Elijah Valley Buchanan, and he's into the end zone on a special teams play. Seattle Prep is up 6-0.
Elijah scored 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing. He also picked up a block punt and took it to the house as well. Congratulations to our Week 2 Rainier Avenue Radio Metro League Student Athlete of the Week, Elijah Valley Buchanan, senior running back for the Seattle Prep Panthers.
All right, we are back. We are back for the second half. And as I said this afternoon, this is Metro Sports Weekly, and I'm Mazvita Maraire, co-host, Pat McCarthy, Executive Director of Athletics. I was on the Metro Athletics site, and that came up. And I saw it as Executive Director of Athletics, and I got you, sir. And I was perusing through the girls' soccer game, and it was Bishop plays development. Yeah, so it's a big week. But Pat, I'm wondering if you could. You started talking about the second half of the sports, and you're now beginning to schedule the schedule process. I'm wondering if you could go into, again, who those sports are and where you're at.
Yeah, you bet, Maz. Okay, so we have season 2 that's going to be starting on plan to start on April 19th, and that will go through June 12th. All right. The sports that we have planned are baseball, boys and girls basketball, boys soccer, boys swim and dive, fast pitch, tennis, track and field, and wrestling. And I think we talked about it last week. Is that the governor moved us to phase 3, and in phase 3 that we are now allowed to have basketball competitions and wrestling competitions. So we're still waiting to see the guidance when we have those sports, because in all the other sports we have guidance and best practice of how to operate those sports, and give us certain protocols that we need to have in place. And so we're looking forward to that information so that we can have it ready for basketball and wrestling athletes. So those are the sports that we're offering in season 2. We're trying to finalize those schedules right now. As you can imagine, we've got a lot of sports, and I'm talking with people like John Lindsay, who are the officials assigners for sports, and making sure that they have enough officials when we offer those games. So in talking with John, he doesn't want to see all of our games on Tuesday and Fridays because he might not have enough officials. So that's part of our challenge is coordinating all of the sport offerings that we have in a week, and not taxing our facilities and double booking our facilities, or putting too much stress on officials where we don't have enough to cover games and so forth. So that's all part of the scheduling piece. And, you know, it's putting a puzzle together, I guess, is what I would say.
A continual puzzle, the matrix, right?
Yeah, it does get pretty complex. So,
yeah, I can't imagine the complexity of that. The teams, the multiple facilities, and just how, you know, and again, it's varsity JV, right? And just those moving parts. As you move up in the parks and recreation, you know, my experience of scheduling was what was it? It was, as an assistant coordinator, was doing the tiny tots. I mean, the 4 teams, the 9-year-olds in your own gym, and we thought that was difficult, you know.
Yeah. It does have its challenges, you know, but you know we'll get it right. And, you know, it's just working with good people like John Lindsay and, you know, and our athletic director groups, you know, our commissioners that oversee certain sports. You know, we all work together to put the best we can for our kids. So, and
it's fun, right? I mean, it's a lot of work, but you know, these are people that enjoy what they do.
Yeah, and I guess for us, Maz, and I don't like to speak for all the athletic directors, but you know, all of our athletic directors are great people. They've been working tirelessly for a lot of months here, trying to put athletics in a good space, and they do that. And the joy that we get is from the last 3 weeks when we're able to see kids out there practicing or competing and really enjoying themselves. And I'll just share that, you know, I shared this with my boss is that I wrote her from Memorial Stadium where we had a soccer game between, I think it was Garfield and Cleveland, and the girls to the stadium, and they were all in masks and following the protocols just perfectly. And the Garfield team had, I noticed that one of the players had a bunch of flowers, you know, and I go, that's kind of odd to have flowers at a soccer game. Well, what was going on is that they were celebrating seniors. Okay. And so the Garfield girls soccer team had brought flowers for the seniors on the Cleveland girls soccer team and presented them to them, you know, in a good way, you know, just left them there for the girls on the other team to pick up and get. And, you know, just wishing the seniors a great night and a great experience and so forth. So that was from one school to another school. They played the soccer game. It was, you know, Garfield had won the soccer game. They were a little bit better than the Cleveland team. But afterwards, you know, they get together in a safe way and they cheer for each other. You know, so it's just the total experience of kids playing in an event and enjoying an event, and then to see them express the sportsmanship and display the sportsmanship that they did in the manner that they did just makes you feel really good. You know, that this is why we're here. You know, this is why we're giving kids the experience that, you know, that they are exercising some things and doing some things as a team. You know, there was some planning that went on the Garfield side to celebrate the other team and the other team seniors. And so to see that kind of thoughtfulness in the competitive atmosphere is just, it just makes you feel really good. And it gives you some accreditation for all the work that you're doing to watch those girls play, you know, and to see what they're doing. So pretty neat.
Yeah. I mean, of that act, you know, from A to Z is pretty incredible, and especially from the young females growing up. And there you go. So I'm always, the future is bright, and we invest in our, kids from 0 to, this is why things continue to always change for the better, because they have the hope that, that takes a lot of, that's humanity at its best.
Yep. And I got to give a shout out to Carol Lynch, who's the athletic director at Garfield. And, she has conversations. She also teaches leadership. And you can just tell that she's having an impact on those young men and young ladies at Garfield. And same with all of our other athletic directors. They're doing it within their schools, and you can see the joy on kids' faces when they're out there competing and getting that opportunity. So that's what we're excited about.
Yeah, no, that's really, thank you for sharing that, and especially the integrity and honoring competition. Like, you know what, this is cool. We get to compete. So I honor you for us competing, but it's not the only thing that's there. That's amazing.
Yeah, and there's other examples too. We see at football games now, normally, and all of our competitions, normally the kids get an opportunity after the game to shake hands with the other team. Well, that isn't allowed now. You're not supposed to be going up, and you got to keep that social distancing going, and after the game and so forth. So what we're seeing now, though, is instead of those handshakes, you see cheers and expressions from the other team on their sideline over to the other sideline in a positive way. So, it's just really a tribute to the kids and the athletic directors at the schools and the leadership that's going on. That stuff is happening, and it's going in the right way. So.
That is so encouraging to hear. Because I know that, a lot of us that cover sports, especially even the professional more so, that the national broadcast or the television broadcast never really focus on what happens at the end of the game when the players get together at midfield. And certain players, will hold a prayer, but the players actually will congregate there, and brothers will say hi from, and I'm glad that, because I always wondered, man, if the broadcasters could just showcase that, because once it's over, there is that bond in terms of the honor of, of competing.
Yeah, Maz, it's more than that. It's you see from the minute the buses arrive at a facility and players get off, they go to their sidelines and they're getting dressed or preparing and so forth. You can still see acknowledgement to the other team and so forth for being there. Athletics, has a small world. The athletes know other athletes from other schools, and they're playing. They know who they are, and that they look forward to playing. I'm looking forward to playing Maz from Roosevelt, right? And although I know him, I'm acknowledging before the game. I see you, Maz, and I wish you the best of luck. But I'm gonna compete hard and so forth to try to beat you. And then after the game, I'm gonna recognize you and say, Maz, great job, and I appreciate the work that you put in and so forth. Great job in the game that you've done. That's what we're seeing out there, and I think that we're seeing some appreciation that athletes appreciate being back out there, and they appreciate the time and so forth. Same with the coaches. So that's what we're experiencing. It's to be honest with you, it's a space with the pandemic that is challenging to maneuver through and make plans for and all that. But we've done that, and we're providing that space for the athletes, and they're doing a great job. Same with the coaches. So
that's wonderful. I want to, if I could, couple questions. So April 19th is the beginning of practice, or that is when games start, Pat?
That's day one of our season 2. So that's the first day of practice. And what's different this year is typically you would need to have a couple weeks to have practices to get ready for games and so forth. But there's a required number of practice. those requirements have been cut in half basically by the WIA. So if you normally have to have 10 practices to get in before a game, it's 5 this year. And so our first practice date is April 19th. The competitions will start probably the later part of that second week and so forth. So.
Okay. And right, track and field and tennis. So, wow, what's coming up?
Yeah, it really is. As an athletic, as athletic directors and so forth, we got a lot going on. We're managing season 1 sports, and we're in full swing of that. And we realize that season 2 is upon us in another month or so, and we'll be ready to go for season 2 and for season 2 sports. So.
And I didn't get the sports, and I should have, but I'm going to ask on a couple different ones, like track and field. They're usually held at the athletic complexes, anyways, right? SWAC and whatnot. Are you going to have an all metro? What's the culmination event for track and field?
Yeah, Maz. I think in track we're looking at meets that are more dual meet type situations for this year. We've got to still focus on what we want to offer for a culminating event where, we're limited on the number of athletes and so forth that we can have at a facility. So we're reviewing that, and we're trying to still think about what the best culminating event is for track and field. It could be, and I'm not saying this is it, but it could be something similar to what we're doing with swimming and posting league times to a site so people can see where they stack up, during the course of the season, in terms of times. It's not ideal, but that's definitely a possibility.
A couple more. And tennis? How? I'm just using the context, which is great, like you said, in terms of how do you.
Yeah, tennis is one of our low risk sports, and we're pursuing tennis like we would a normal year. That they can have dual meets with another school and so forth during the regular season, and then we'll have some type of culminating tournament or final event where kids can play and move up a ladder, that kind of thing. So that's something to expect for tennis.
And what do you mean by move up a ladder? Maybe explain that to the audience.
So if we have like a bracket, it would be a 16-team bracket. So if you win, you move up to the next round, and you keep moving up if you win. Okay, so it's like a bracket situation. If you win, you move on. If you lose, you're probably done. So
yeah. Okay. And then basketball, the boys and girls games, and then
basketball is something that I'm working on with some of our athletic department team. And again, that's a more complex situation, that we're having conversations with John Lindsay and the officials group about the capacity that they can hold, or the number of games that they can do on a certain night, because John Lindsay's, the officials group, they just don't only cover our league, they cover the Kinko League, they cover Wesco, they cover a lot of territory, as you know, and their officials pool is not as big this year for obvious reasons. And so when you have that much of a territory to cover, there needs to be cooperation between different leagues on when they're having their games and so forth. They can't all be at Friday at 7 because they obviously don't have enough officials. So, what do we do in working with the Officials Association? How do we offer games? When do we offer the games? What are the best nights to have varsity competition? What's the best night to have JV competition? And so those are conversations that I'm having with John and trying to coordinate with not only within our league, but having an understanding of what other leagues are doing so that we can stay off of some of their prime nights and that we have our prime nights. So it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of conversations that are going on from, not only within our league and trying to, schedule our kids, but, doing it in the right way so that we can have officials there, that it's a schedule that makes sense for the kids and that we have a plan to offer not only varsity, but JV and C team kids. So pretty involved.
And C team.
Yes. We've got kids that are freshmen that want to play, and we've got to figure that out. So.
Yeah, no, I'm not like YC, but no, that's great. That's great for you guys because that's encouraging to hear. That really is encouraging.
It is, though. It's something that we're excited about, but it's also that we're in that difficult planning stage, right? How are we gonna help John and the officials group, and what can we do to do our part to make it all work? So that's we're in the middle of that right now.
Yeah, and we haven't seen anything yet, but I'm we PMBOA, we had our meetings and all those things, so I'm sure there'll be an email. Watch this. There'll probably be an email tonight coming from John as soon as we get off the show. But
yeah. Well, I know you're going to be getting emails because I'm talking to him and just saying, "Hey, John, are we okay on this night?" And he goes, "Well, I got to, reach out to my crew again to see how many people we have and what pool is available to us on Friday nights or Saturdays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays, So he's giving me the word of, hey, yes, you can have varsity matches here. Yes, this is the best time to have JV matches and so forth. So, and John, he's a good man to work with, and we've had him on the show before. So,
yeah, no, he is a professional and a good person. Sometimes you don't get those two together.
Yeah, that's the great thing that I appreciate about him because, talk about a scheduler, a professional scheduler, he is one of them, because he has to, and I don't know how many officials there are, but, of all the games that are going on during a week, he's got to staff them. And so he's got to know the schedules from not only our league, but Kinko and Wesco, and he's got to know who needs what on a certain night, and how, and so he's got a job, that is, it's a definite scheduling matrix that he's got to put together. So, and he does it well. He's doing it a long, long time. I've been working with him for a long time, and he is great at what he does. And what the other thing, Maz, that he's great about is that he'll pick up the phone and call me, and he goes, McCarthy, hey, I need some help, or hey, I need some help here, and let's talk about this. And he's really good to work with. So and he not only does the basketball officials, but he also does football. So we're working with him right now on football stuff. So.
Yeah, I would, and then we'll move on to finalizing this. But the one word that comes to, two words I would say that come to mind about John is short memory and velocity.
Yeah.
And in the way that he speaks and makes changes on our end is just, it's so laser. Hey, big fella, I need you to go here. I know I had you over there. Can you do this? Great. Okay. Boom, he's gone. And we let him down every so often, like, oh man, John, I can't, my leg is this. And he's like, okay, thanks. Talk to you later. Then the next thing, he forgot all about,
And Maz, some of those changes happen on our end. We've had to move a game for, facility reasons or something like that. And I'm calling him up and saying, hey, John, we're jammed up here. We got to move the game to, whenever. And he takes that. He doesn't complain to me. He doesn't do any of that stuff. he never complains. He goes, okay, let me go to work, and then 20 minutes later he'll call me back and say, hey Pat, and we got you covered, no problem. Thanks for giving me the heads up, or whatever the case is. So, and I would say Maz, that it's not just John Lindsay. John Lindsay is great, but all of the assigners, Leslie Fitzpatrick, who does the girls, is great. Dave Augustavo on the soccer end of things is a great man and does, takes care of all the soccer games. And there's a ton of soccer games, and he does it in a positive way and is great to work with. So, just from our end, we've got a lot of great people that we work with, and we've talked about it many times. It takes a lot of us to make it all work, and it's just nothing but positivity. So, and shifting gears, Maz, it's also working with media. People like the good folks at Rainier Avenue Radio. They're a group that we have to coordinate with. They need to know our schedules and so forth, and they want to know if they can cover certain games, and we work with them the best we can with them too. So it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that we're working with to make things work.
Yeah, and what's great about all of that is there is an expansion of the relationships, so the product, the end result, like you said, when you see those kids before and after, that's an end result of the expansion and the continued commitment by everybody we've talked about. So
yeah, it gives you great satisfaction, right? To see kids and officials out there doing their thing, that they're supposed to be doing, and they're doing it well. It's fun to see the officials when they're coming off the football field. They're all in masks. They've just had 4 quarters where they've been officiating with a mask on, which can't be easy. And they're hustling all over the field, and they're coming off and having a great time, and they huddle up, at the end, and, they're saying, hey, this is great, or this was a great experience. And, we appreciate being out here with the kids. And so they're excited too. So.
All right. So what do we got this week? I know we got the sports. You're going to do the scheduling, just a couple more minutes. Anything else that the public, that our people?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. We're right in the middle of our season 1 in competition. So we'll be gearing up for the culminating events for season 1 here in a few weeks. The other thing that we're exploring right now, last week, the governor moved us to phase 3, which is allowing, as I mentioned earlier, is allowing basketball and wrestling and cheer and dance to do their competitions. He also has lifted or relaxed a little bit on the fans. And so we are exploring, we're still at no fans yet, because we aren't in a space to get the public into games comfortably yet. But we are looking at it, and we will make adjustments to that as we're ready. So, but it's not, we might do something like let senior parents in or something like that at a certain point down the road, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, that has been highly successful and why wouldn't it be on the college level in terms of the once they let that happen?
Yeah, it's just we're trying to do everything that we can to make sure that students are safe, and that's why we're constantly reminding them to wear masks and to wash their hands and come to a practice or a game when they're doing well, and if they're sick, stay home. All of those kind of messaging has been going on constantly. So,
have you had a chance to take a look at the bracket? Did you fill out a bracket? We got about a minute here, but you know
what, Maz? I've been invited to participate in one, and I've got to go sign up on ESPN. I usually do it every year, and I look forward to doing it, but I'm a little behind on. I've done absolutely zero. I know zero information about I haven't followed on any of the college teams. I've just been too busy wrapped up with high school stuff. So, but I am going to put together a bracket. I think that you and I should pick our teams and I want proof that you've got your bracket, and we can compare brackets next week and see how we're doing and kind of follow along. So are you up for the challenge?
Yeah, I'm on. I filled out my bracket. I'll show it to you and
Okay, I'll have mine ready too, Maz, and I guess it's on for next week to compare who's going to have bragging rights for the next year on our March Madness, right?
Absolutely, and D Money is savvy enough where we'll be able to put our brackets on the screen here, so there won't be any like he said, she said. It will be clear electronically.
Yeah, and I'll throw out a challenge to D Money and Tony. Let's get him involved. Let's get those guys to put up a bracket, and we'll put theirs up too.
Yeah, I want to see
get them off.
Bracket. Yeah,
let's get them off.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's the challenge right there. Hopefully he knows because he's a musical guy, but he knows a little bit of sports as we've identified, and it'll be a fun ride. So you're on. We'll do the bracket.
We ought to challenge those some of those other guys, like other shows like Edwin Bailey's show and Juan Cotto. Let's get those guys involved in this too if they want to be. Yeah,
Lidline Sports. That would be a good challenge. All right, so I'll let Tony know. Let's go. Let's see who at Rainier Avenue knows their basketball.
There you go.
For 2021, who's the champion, as they like to call it. All right, sir, it's been great. Thank you for the wonderful information and the insight of what's going on in the Metro. Really, I mean, that's always giving us some nuggets which are useful for parents and kids.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir.
Good to see you, Mom. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. I'll give a shout out to my gal Cheryl down in Federal Way. Anybody you want to shout out to, Maz?
You know what? I'm just going to go to all the kids that are back on the field and participating. Thank you for waiting. And now, glad to see you. You give us hope too.
Yep.
So there it is. All right. That's Pat McCarthy. He is the Executive Director of Athletics at Metro League, Maraire. And so we'll see you next week on Metro Sports.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update.